PMBOK Guide, 7th edition. I know lots of you have been reading the 6th, but it's time to make a transition to the 7th. So today we're going to talk about chapter 2. It's called A System for Value Delivery. It happens to be one of the chapters I think is quite good for you to understand. So there are 5 sections in chapter 2. 1, creating value. Everyone knows about value, right? What is value? The PMI in the 6th edition defined value as the net quantifiable benefits that a user or customer experiences from a deliverable. So it does make sense to understand right off the bat what value is. If you're achieving benefits from a deliverable, then we're talking value. If there's no benefit, there's no value. And it says, this section describes how projects operate within a system to produce value for organizations and their stakeholders. Now let's break this down really quick. Imagine you worked on a project. You delivered an IT system. You've installed the IT system. It sounds like it was a successful project, right? On time, on budget, on schedule. But the question is, are you achieving the benefits and therefore the value? If no one's using that system, I tell you, you're not achieving the benefits. Benefits are not being realized. So beyond project management, it's important that we realize the benefits that the project was undertaken to deliver. See, that's the difference between just a deliverable being delivered versus the benefits and the value. All right? So the second part is organizational governance systems. It says, this section describes how governance supports a system of value delivery. So what is governance? The PMI have defined governance in the past as the framework within which authority is exercised. So governance has to do with a framework through which authority is exercised. People think governance is a bad word. It's not a bad word. Governance is about order, structure, processes, procedures, guidelines, and giving people a direction and a vehicle to do whatever they need to do. So where there's no governance, companies have big problems, I tell you. So there's nothing wrong in governance. All right, so organizational governance systems just help the governance of the organization. The third one says functions associated with projects. This is section 2.3. And this section identifies the functions that support projects. We're going to go into different roles that project managers play and roles that you find in project management. Then next we go into the project environment, the internal and external factors that influence projects. And the last thing we're going to touch on is product management considerations. The PMI have given us a framework, a flow of sorts for how products are actually put into existence. So let's talk about the first one, creating value. I think I've already broken this down sufficiently. But I'll talk about the things that are here. It says projects exist within a larger system, such as a governmental agency, organization, or contractual arrangement. For the sake of brevity, this standard uses the term organization when referring to government agencies, enterprises, contractual arrangements, joint ventures, and other arrangements. Organizations create value, that word again, for stakeholders. And there are different components in a value delivery system. You've got projects, you've got programs at a higher level, then you've got portfolios even above that. And then under, right at the bottom, you've got operations which support those different pieces. So portfolios, programs, projects, operations help those in different ways. In fact, we could look at the operations as being part of portfolios and programs. So if you turn over to page 10, you see this really cool breakdown that the PMI has put in the 7th edition of the system for value delivery, external environment and internal environment. Take a look at that. And then we see the flow of information on page 11 across portfolios, programs, projects, and senior leadership. I've got quite a number of videos about the 7th edition, so check those out. But let's move into the next section. Organizational governance systems. Again, I've given you a pretty good breakdown. Governance. The governance system works alongside the value delivery system to enable smooth workflows, to manage issues and support decision making. So what did I say about governance? It's the framework within which authority is exercised. Now we get into the functions associated with projects. So what do you expect a project manager to do? To oversee the project, to present objectives and feedback, to facilitate support, to perform work and contribute insights, to apply expertise, provide business direction and insight, to provide resources and direction, and maintain governance. Now, when it comes to providing resources, you may need to tap into the work of a sponsor. It says people in this role of providing resources and direction, they do what? They communicate the organization's vision, goals, and expectations to the project team and broader stakeholder community. People in this function serve as a go-between senior management and the project team. You get the idea. Now we're coming to the close. Project environment. The PMI have taken EEFs and OPAs from the 6th edition and they've put them into one cohesive whole under the project environment. We have the internal environment, we have the external environment. The internal environment has process assets, governance documentation, knowledge assets, things that are internal to the firm. And the external environment has things like the marketplace, social culture, regulatory environment, commercial databases, and so on. Finally, for products, what you need to remember is this. There are 4 major phases when it comes to product management, the product lifecycle. And here we have the introduction of the product. So there's a project to introduce the product. Then we have growth of the product. It evolves. Features could be added. And then we have the maturity. This is the height of maturity of the product. And last but not least, it tapers off into decline or retirement. And that, my friends, is it for chapter 2 of the 7th edition. Spend some time going through this, and after watching this video, I guarantee you, it will be a lot easier. I'll see you in the next video.